Welcome and welcome back to the wonderful world of knitting. Yes, another episode from me, from Kathleen. It has been a little while, a few months. My last episode was in December. And I thought I'm taking the opportunity today to come to you, record an episode after all this time. Yes, so welcome to any returning viewers and any new viewers. Yes, a lot has been happening, hence why I couldn't record another episode. I had other priorities, but I think I will get into that in the live update section at the end of the video. So, because there have been a few new subscribers, I just thought I'm gonna just a very quick introduction. My name is Kathleen and I live here in London with my family. But I am German. I'm from Germany originally, but have lived here for almost 20 years. So this is a knitting channel. So basically just talk about my knitting. You won't find anything else on this channel. I'm here for the knitting. So yes, if you're interested in that, you are a knitter or a crafty person, then yeah, give me the thumbs up if you like my content. And leave me a comment, let me know what you're working on. I'd love to, obviously I'm reaching out to you guys and I'd love to get feedback and get connections and just, I mean, this knitting community here on YouTube is just amazing and I'm so happy to be part of it. My channel is a small channel as I don't post so many videos, but that's fine. But yeah, leave me a comment, give me the thumbs up, so that would make me happy. So yes, so live updates, I will talk about that once we've discussed all the knitting, because there is a lot to discuss as it has been a little while. And I think we should just jump straight in because I have a lot to show you today. So yes, get comfortable, settle in with a nice drink. I made myself a nice coffee. So do the same, get yourself a drink, settle in and enjoy. Maybe grab your knitting as well. And let me show you what I've got for you. So let's start with what I am wearing. So today is a cold day, raining cold. It's Easter time now. So it is just that I'm wearing a nice, comfy, nice cardigan. It is lovely. Let me step back. I do love this color very much, this mustard color. So I am wearing the Sunday Cardigan Mohair Edition by PetiteKnit. Yes, another PetiteKnit pattern. They are very popular and they are just very well written. The instructions are very clear. For any new beginners, I would really recommend PetiteKnit patterns. They're very simple, very versatile, and yeah, and just chic as well. So let me start with the yarn that I've used for the Sunday cardigan. So I actually changed the yarn fiber a little bit. The pattern actually calls for 3 strands of silk mohair held together. So when I swatched at the time, I didn't really like the fabric it made, as it was quite light, too airy, too loose for me. I wanted something heavier. So then what I did in the end, I actually paired a fingering weight yarn. This is fingering weight with two strands of silk mohair and 1 strand of fingering weight held double. So you have 3 strands. It was a bit of a challenge holding them together, because sometimes, especially with the silk mohair yarn, they're quite thin, so you can actually lose the strands and you know, drop a stitch. So yeah, you do have to pay more attention. So this is the fabric it made. I think it is so gorgeous. So that's the yarn that I've used. I'm going to show you the pattern as well, if you are interested. This is the PetiteKnit Sunday Cardigan Mohair Edition. It is a paid-for pattern, and the construction, it couldn't be simpler. It is seamless. Excuse me. You start here, you cast on, and then it's a yoked construction, which means that you do not have raglan increases. You have increases all around, which gives the shape. So in fact the increases are done through the whip. You can see that the whip pattern gets larger and larger and larger. So you add stitches, which is decorative and also shapes the garment as well. So you knit down, you then separate for the sleeves, you knit the body, and then you go back and knit the knit the sleeves. So pick up so yeah, your sleeve stitches will be held on scrap yarn or on a cord, and then you attach the needles and just knit in the round. You can knit the sleeves in the round, whereas this, being an open cardigan, is knit back and forth, so a lot of purling and knitting, of course. So that is what I'm wearing. So yeah, that's the Sunday cardigan by PetiteKnit. And yeah, I really enjoyed knitting that. It flew off the needles. The stitch gauge is only 14 stitches. So you have less stitches to knit because they're bigger, you're using bigger needles, so it's very, very quick. It flew off the needles. Yeah, so that's that. And now, shall we move on to my finished objects? Yes, let's do the first one. So, I'm going to show you the garment first. Some returning viewers will probably recognize this. Now, which way is the right way around? There we go. I just hold it up. So this is a sleeveless top. Knit in, let me start with the yarn and then I tell you what the pattern is. It is knit with Rowan Alpaca Classic. I do have a couple of balls left still. I always tend to overbuy yarn when I buy yarn for a particular pattern, just so that I don't run out of the yarn, because then you can have a different dye lot and you may not be able to find the exact same color with that exact dye lot. So that's the yarn I used. I must say though that I did expect more of this yarn. It is, I shall tell you what blend it is. It is an alpaca and cotton blend, and this is 25 gram. I would say, so it feels like a fingering weight, but it almost knit up as a DK weight yarn. And yeah, I expected more. It seems it's too light for me. There's no substance to this yarn, but it's still, you know, nice yarn. It is quite expensive though. I wouldn't want to buy it again, I think, because it is so expensive. When you spend a lot of money on yarn, you have to really love the yarn as well. So yes, and I'm going to show you the pattern now. Oh, by the way, I finished this I think in January, because I had cast this on in December, and that was my Christmas knit that I knit when we went to visit my family in Germany. And it was just a really simple knit as well, because yeah, let me tell you about the construction and then I tell you the name of the yarn. Yes, still the nerves are there because I have not recorded for a long time, so please excuse. Anyway, so the construction, you start here, you actually knit back and forth because it has a split hem. So you knit the two pieces separately, you knit this piece separately and then this one, knit back and forth, so just knit and purl. Then you join it here, join it together, at which point you can start knit. No, I'm wrong, I lie. You do not start to knit in the round. You do knit this piece seamed, so you do not knit in the round, you always knit back and forth. So I was wrong, apologies. I remember now how it's knit. So you knit this is the front part, and then you knit the back part. You knit up to the armhole opening, both sides, the front and the back. And then you do shaping. So you're going to have to shape, let me show you here. You do the armhole shaping, but you also have to do shaping here at the neckline. And I will show you the back. So yes, there is shaping, so it's basically two pieces you do. It's actually quite simple. You do the front piece, you do the back piece with shaping the armhole and the neck shaping. What you do then is you have to seam the two pieces together, and I shall show you my seam. So this is now the inside and this is the seam. Simple mattress stitch On the right side it looks seamless. And then all you got to do is, once you've seamed them up, of course you have to do a shoulder seam also. I think this is actually a 3-needle bind off by the looks of it. Or is it not? I can't remember. You then pick up stitches around the neck and you just simply knit the collar. And there you have it. It's very light, it is warm, it's lovely. The only disappointment though with this is that for me the armhole is too deep. So it is not bra friendly, so you can actually see my bra here on the side. So I actually did think, wouldn't it be nice to just pick up stitches here around the armhole and then knit a short length of sleeve, so you still have short sleeves. Would that hide the bra? I hope so. I don't know if I'm going to do it or not, because at the moment I see this as done and I want to knit other things, but we shall see. So yeah, other than that, I do enjoy knitting seamed garments sometimes, because first of all it's a great skill still to keep, you know, to keep practicing, to keep doing it, because if you don't do it then you get stuck in your own ways, and then the longer you don't do it, then the more difficult it becomes. And plus also knitting seamed garments opens the door for many more garments, obviously. If you just focus on seamless one-piece garments, then you're kind of limited, right? Plus also I kind of enjoy the mattress stitch. It's just amazing how it just looks seamless even though there is a seam, and I think that's quite cool. I am very much interested in construction of garments, so I think that's why probably I love it. Also then it makes you appreciate your seamless garments more in that sense. So yes, that's that, and I'm just going to show you the pattern as well. I don't think I've mentioned the pattern. The pattern is in this book by Kim Hargreaves, Form. And the pattern is called Slide. Yeah, there we go. Slide. There it is. So it has 2 dots here, which is basically a rating for how difficult a pattern is. And the 2 dots, I believe, stands for bear with me. A pattern book usually will tell you they either have 1, 2, or 3 dots. So 1 is probably then easy, 2 dots is for intermediate, and 3 is for experienced knitters. Oh yeah, there. Yes, there it is. Experience rating. As I said, 1 is for novice knitter, 2 is for the average knitter. If a pattern has 3 dots, it's for the experienced knitter. And then there's actually one more pattern in here that I would love to make. I love the look of this. But I would definitely use a different yarn. In this color, but different fiber. But once again, it is a seamed garment, so that will make it quite tricky. And I wonder, what is the experience rating on that one? I think it's probably 3 dots, which means it's for an experienced knitter. Which I am, but still a bit more tricky. Oh no, only 2 dots for that one as well. But anyway, so that's that. Yeah, great pattern, simple, great garments, lovely. So yes, that's my first finished objects, folks. And then I'd like to move on. Oh, is there anything else I wanted to mention? Oh. Yeah, I think I've mentioned everything. Yes, let's move on to the second finished object. Because that one is a big one. Like physically a big one. I shall put it on for you. So, oh, I'm wrapping myself in wool today. We are in April, it is not winter anymore, but regardless, I love wool. I love it. So this is the lovely Pi Shawl, and this I think came about, yes, I cast this on in September, so this has been a long-standing project of mine, and it's actually a newly finished project. This literally came off the blocking boards this morning, because I pushed really hard now over Easter to get this done. It's been on the needles for too long, I thought. So yes, so this came about last year when, so in our office it's really cold and they open the windows and I'm always freezing. I've got the heater on. So I was looking for a really lovely big shawl that just, even like a blanket, that just completely wraps me in wool. And wool will keep you warm. I mean, lovely knitters, the ones that knit with wool, you all know that if you want to be warm, use wool, because it has such great qualities. If you're starting to get too warm, then it's actually, it has heat, I think it has almost like heat regulating properties, because you can still sometimes wear wool and not be too warm, I find. Plus, oh, I'm going on about wool now, sorry. Wool also has self-cleansing properties as well, so you hardly have to wash your woolly garments. So yes, but yeah, I'm jumping ahead now. I'm going off on a tangent about wool. So you can see the colors. I think it is just, oh, it is the biggest project that I've ever knitted, and yes, I think it's going to keep me very warm. I won't go on too much about it. I'm just going to show you the book. I did discuss it in length in previous episodes. So I came about this particular construction because it's not a pattern by one designer as such, it's a universal pattern. I came about this pattern the first time several years ago. Stacey Perry, Very Pink Knits, she talks about the Pi Shawl construction, and then I got this book, and I'm a big fan of Elizabeth Zimmermann, and there she gives you the instructions. It is actually surprisingly simple, because all you really have to do is how to knit, change colors of, so change to a different yarn, different colors, knit, change color, increase doing yarn over, and bind off. You don't really have to know any sort of magical shaping, any great techniques. You do not have to know. This is really, it's really beginner friendly. Oh, it got caught now. It is beginner friendly. My hair is messy. Very beginner friendly, and I'm just going to very quickly for the new viewers tell you about the construction, because I think it's so cool and it almost deserves an episode on its own, this beautiful shawl. So you start here at the beginning, you start here with only 9 stitches. You do the Emily Ocker's circular cast on, which is quite tricky, I must admit. It took me 3 attempts to get it right, because you have 9 stitches on 3 needles, and it's very confusing. You don't know what stitch to knit next. You get all twisted up. So yes, the beginning is the most tricky part really. You then knit 1, so it's all knitting in the round. You knit 1 plain knit round. Then you increase, and what you end up with, you basically, each time you do an increase round by these yarn overs, the yarn overs gives it obviously the decoration as well, because they look nice, but most importantly it gives it the shape. So as you double the number of stitches by increasing doing yarn overs, then you double the plain knit rounds each time. So all these different colors that you see, you have the double number of plain knit rounds, because in one increase round you double the number of stitches. For anybody interested, you can look it up. You can find the construction of Pi Shawls. There are also half Pi Shawls. So they would not be triangular shawls, they would be just half. What shape would that be? Maybe like a crescent shape almost? So there are these shawls out there as well, and they're probably a little bit easier, they're quicker to knit maybe, and they're easier to wear as well. But the beauty of making a round shawl so big is that I can actually fold it in half, like I've just done now, and I can wear it like this. And yes, I was going to tell you as well about the border now. So you just keep on knitting, 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 knitting. And for anyone who is interested, I actually did a bit of maths today to tell you exactly how many stitches are there in total in this shawl. And in the shawl there are 62,766 stitches that I knit in this shawl. So you can understand why it's been on the needles for a little while. Oh, now I got caught again. Apologies. And the last thing I'd like to tell you about is the border. Because once you've finished knitting the shawl, you've got basically stockinette stitch. And then, of course, you can bind off on the stockinette stitch, and then it would be a very simple, it would be no border basically. You would have just a stockinette finishing, and then you bind off. But I really did want to, because it's such a stunning piece, I did want to add a nice border. So this is what I ended up with, and I think it complements the design, the simple stockinette design, beautifully. So it did actually take me quite a while to figure out what border I want, and I did start one border that I found on YouTube, and I may be able to link it below if anybody's interested. And the border looked nice, and I started knitting this border, I think maybe from a free pattern it was, because it was available on YouTube. So it's not that I, you know, stole this this pattern or this stitch pattern. I didn't, you know, it was, as I said, it was freely available on YouTube. So after doing a bit of research and looking, I found that, and so then I started knitting it. And then it's actually really interesting how it is knit as well, because it is knit sideways. It's amazing. It blew my mind when I was working it. At first I didn't understand it, but then when I looked at it, it didn't actually look right. I'm going to add, when I edit the video, I'm going to add a picture for you here to show you the border that I'm talking about. And yeah, I did not think that it looked good, so I whipped it out. And what I then did next is I added a border called Forgotting. I think it's called Forgotting. It's probably in all the stitch dictionaries that are out there. So I added that, which is basically just yarn over, purl two together, yarn over, purl two together, all around, and you do several rounds of that. And then I bound off. But guess what happened then? Because I did a normal standard bind off, and the normal standard bind off by nature is very tight. Even though I went up by 1 millimeter in the needle, it was extremely tight. So we're talking over 500 stitches in one round, right? So because it was too tight, and then when you block the shawl, you won't actually be able to really block it out if the border, if the bind off is too tight, because it has no give. You can't go anywhere with the fabric. So I actually started whipping out the bind off. But because I was doing the border, which is a yarn over border, and when you whip out, you are never ever able to pick up the yarn overs. So it was such a painstaking task, and I was actually very close to giving up on the entire project altogether. So what I had to do then is I had to undo the border, because I was unable to pick up all these yarn overs. It's impossible. It is impossible. So I undid the border that I had done, and then I'm still left with live stitches of the stockinette stitch. So that was in our living room on the carpet in the evening. I was so tired, and oh my god, it was really a very tricky, really hard moment. Sometimes you have hard moments in our knitting adventures, but you just keep on going. And also it's good sometimes to just put it away and pick it up the next day when you have more energy and you're less brain fogged. So yeah, I think that's what I actually did. I then picked it up the next day, and I had over 500 live stitches. I think actually it's 576 live stitches, and I had to pick each stitch up with my needle. But because I'm a very persistent and patient person, I did it. So what I ended up doing then, to cut this short now, maybe I already lost quite a few videos rambling on about my Pi Shawl. But thank you for still being here and listening to me, if you are. I then did a simple yarn over, knit two together, and I did 4 rounds of this. And look at the beautiful border, simple but beautiful, that it gave me. And then instead of doing a standard tight bind off, I did a yarn over bind off, which makes it stretchy. So yes, that is my Pi Shawl, folks. And yeah, I'm glad I have it off the needle now. And I'm just going to have a cup of my coffee now. Bear with me. A sip of my coffee. Yes, and one thing to mention about the Pi Shawl as well is actually the yarn. I don't think I mentioned it for any of the new viewers joining. So I've knit this with the British Wool, 100% wool yarn. And this is the light grey colour that I used for the very big section at the end. And it's on the cone. There's still quite a bit left because you get 500 grams with these cones. And I actually, so the next pattern that I want, the next project I want to cast on is actually purely wool driven, or yarn driven I should say. Because I have this left and I really enjoyed working with this so much, I actually think that this leftover yarn, which is basically leftover from the Pi Shawl, because you get so much, it's never ending, I think I can squeeze out a ranunculus. I have never knit a ranunculus, so it is well overdue anyway. And I think even Inga from the Knitting Traditions, I believe she knit one of her ranunculus in this very same color as well. And this is the light grey natural. And I mean, to me, it's the most beautiful, beautiful grey, light grey color. Oh, it has this hair on it. Such a hairy yarn. I just love it. So I might actually cast on a ranunculus with this. So yes, so that was that. And another sip now. I hope you're also comfortable and settling in. I hope you're knitting as well. I should really pick up my needles as well one time and just knit in front of the camera and sit and chat with you some more whilst we knit. I think I'll do that in the next episode. But I'd like to move on to the... so this is actually not a knitting project. And it's not a knitting project that I have finished. Well, it's not a crafty project that I have finished, but my daughter has. So we have two girls, 8 and 5-year-old, and my 8-year-old, she is into sewing. So she actually has a children's sewing machine, and she sewed a little dress for her Barbie. And I just show you the back. So I did not do this, you know, that's not my project, but it's a finished project that my daughter just did. And she really loved it. She did it even as a school project as well. So you can see that here at the back, I'm not sure, is this blowing out? So this is the seam here, done with a simple sewing machine, very simple. And it is fastened with this Velcro. But it's all falling apart. It is handmade. We actually cut this fabric out from a dress that belonged to my daughter, which is now too small. So yeah, so my daughter made this, and of course I'm a very proud mom. I really love the fact that she enjoys sewing, and she wants to learn more. And maybe in the future this will be a mother-daughter channel, which would be so amazing. I'm getting hot now. I have to take off my cardigan. The coffee, when I drink a hot drink, I get hot. And then, this is another sewing project. This is very simple fabric. And yeah, she did that with her kids' sewing machine. I just wanted to show that. And yeah, well done to her, I think. Yes, and now shall we move on to our whips. So the first whip that I'd like to talk about, I have lots of yarn here, so I'm just going to throw this around. Yeah, we don't need this now. Oh, because I just picked this up. This is the yarn that I've used for the Sunday cardigan that I was wearing just earlier. I don't think I actually told you what yarn this is specifically, if anybody is interested. because I do have the ball bands here. I have a knitting journal and I keep really good record of everything. What needle size I use, name of the pattern and the yarn. So this, oh, this is such a gorgeous color. I want another garment of this color. What could this be? Love it. This is the Isager Silk Mohair, and it's the color 22. And I believe I got this from, was it Tangled Yarn or Tribe Yarn? Tribe Yarn in London, which is a yarn shop. So this was 2 strands. I held double with that. It was a very yarn hungry garment. And then this fingering weight yarn is actually the Fyberspates Vivacious 4-ply. Yeah, if you're interested. So 1 strand of this with 2 strands of the silk mohair gave me the beautiful Sunday cardigan. So yes, let's move on to our whips. And this whip I'm housing in this nice flower project bag. And I should just, oh, I'm sorry, I don't actually have it on a long cord, but that's still fine, that's still okay. Let me just sort this mess out. I want to find the front because it has some German short row shaping, which means that the front sits lower than the back. So I'm going to find the front for you and shall hold it up. Oh, what a beauty. This is the Jules Genser or Jules sweater by Sandnes Garn. And I'm almost finished with the body. I only have to do the whipping now. I believe it is 1 by 1 rip that I need to do. Then I need to pick up the sleeve stitches. They are hanging on my Barber knitting cords, both the sleeve stitches. And look at that gorgeous lace pattern. It's a yoked sweater, so again that means that you have increases all around the yoke incorporated into the design. Look at this gorgeous, gorgeous pattern. And it is knit with 1 strand of silk mohair. And I cannot wait to have this finished. Oh, it is giving me such pleasure. It's a very enjoyable knit. It's lovely. At first, when you knit with silk mohair, you may struggle, and because it's such a thin yarn, it is lace weight yarn, and you're knitting a garment out of with lace weight. I think I'm knitting this on 4mm needles. I'm a tight knitter, so that means I tend to always go up in the needle sizes. So 4mm needle. It is lace weight yarn, and so yeah, if you struggle at first and you feel like, oh, you want to give up knitting silk mohair, don't, because once you get used to it, you will fly. It's as easy as knitting other fibers, really, or other weights. You know, you just need to get used to it, and you just have to pay a little bit more attention to your stitches. And yeah, I cannot wait to have this finished. It is so gorgeous. I love the color. And sorry, I just have to be careful with this, or we are not going to throw this on the floor. No, I put it nicely on my bed. I'm knitting this with the Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair in this lovely, lovely color. And the colorway is Autumn. Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair Autumn. Knitting for Olive is a little bit more pricey, yes, but well, I'm here for the enjoyment, and I work, and so, you know, I don't feel bad because I work hard, and so yeah, I treat myself sometimes. And let me just show you the pattern book as well. I got this from this Sandnes Garn book. And it is Meek till Dame. I believe it means for ladies. Inga from the Knitting Traditions. She worked several patterns from this book. She did the Amy slipover, she did the Jules Genser, and she did the Guernsey Genser, and which is a cabled pattern. And the one that I'm interested in knitting as well. Oh, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. I want to show you the Jules Genser first. Bear with me. It's a lovely book, lovely pattern book. Even just the smell of it is lovely. I'm one of those anyway that love the smell of books because I like to read also. And yeah, there it is. So the model is wearing a blue version and I'm making an orange version. And I did see Inga knitting it, so fell in love when I saw it and I had to steal that idea. Yes, and then let me show you the one that I also like to make as well. Oh, and here is the famous Guernsey Genser that Inga did in a lovely light lime green color. There, that's the Guernsey Genser, which is an oversized cabled jumper. And the one I like as well, the one I'd like to make, why can I not find it now? I think it's called a Frankie sweater. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, there, the Frankie sweater. I did actually read the instructions for the Frankie sweater, and there were some things unclear to me. I didn't fully get it. But I'm sure once I start knitting, I would be able to do it. I have plenty of yarn in my stash, so I just have to pick the yarn. I've got the pattern ready. The only thing that I need is time. So yes, so that's my Jules sweater. And then I want to move on to my final whip. I'm housing it in this bag. This is just a bag from a commercial reseller. I can't remember where I got it. Maybe even I got it online, I can't remember. So this this pattern I'm actually knitting as part of a caul, a two-person's caul again, a very personal caul with my lovely knitting Instagram friend Jana. Jana's Knits, I believe she is under on Instagram. And so we're doing a little caul. So, which means that I believe now 2 or 3 weeks ago, it was cast on day. So we set a specific day as the cast on day. And we were just so motivated. And within a few days, we had already done everything up to the splitting for the sleeves. And so yeah, so that's our whip. Not just mine, but also Jana's whip. And there is my version. And for any of you who are very familiar with the PetiteKnit patterns, they will probably recognize it. It is the Cumulous blouse or Cumulous tee. She has 2 patterns out there and under the Cumulous tee and the Cumulous blouse. I'm knitting the Cumulous blouse. However, because I'm using a very woolly wool, I can't really call it a blouse, I call it a Cumulous sweater. And yeah, let me show you my progress. I only have to finish the body, and then I will have to do the I-cord bind off. Yes, I-cord bind off it's called, yeah. I've never done it before, so that's going to be interesting to see how that works for me. Jana said it can be a little tricky to then seam up the ends really needless. So yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. But I've never done it, so yeah, we shall see. It's a very simple construction, raglan construction. You cast on here, then you have 4 raglan increases where at each raglan increase side, you do 2 increases. You do it on every right side round, because you have to knit back and forth. So the purl round you knit purl. I don't want to give too much away, it's a paid for pattern. But yeah, it's just basically standard raglan shaping. But because you knit back and forth, you also have to shape the V front here, the V-neck. So this is how where you increase. Once you're at this point, you can then join the pieces in the round and start knitting in the round. At which point soon you will split for the sleeves. Then you will knit the body. You do an I-cord edging here around the neckline and the body, as well as the sleeves in the end. So then you go back and knit the sleeves. So yeah, it couldn't be simpler. And it's a very enjoyable knit. And I must say, actually working on this as part of a knit, such a personal cull. You know, I was very motivated, and Jana as well, and we sent each other progress pictures, and it's great fun. And so yeah, I think I'll have this one finished first, after which I will then finish my Jules sweater. And I want to show you the yarn I'm using as well for the Cumulous. So I'm using, as I mentioned, this is I think it's actually the most rustic yarn that I've ever worked with. It is really scratchy. Even after washing, when I did my swatch and I washed it, I ran it over my arm and it almost felt like I'm exfoliating my skin. It's really scratchy. So I do hope it will soften up with wash and wear ultimately. So this is the can you see this? The Tukuwool DK. Tukuwool DK, and it is 100% Finnish wool. And yeah, it's really enjoyable. I really like it. Yes. Oh, also I'm knitting, just to mention that I knit the medium size of the Cumulous, because I did want it oversized, so that was intentional. I could have gone for a small size as well, but yeah, I wanted it oversized. So then I want to talk a little bit about some, I just want to tell you a little bit about my life and what has been happening. I mentioned at the beginning that it has been quite busy, and for a couple of reasons I hadn't done a video in several months. So the reason actually, which is an exciting and nice reason, the reason for this is that we got a fish tank. So I am now a new fish keeper. So we have a lovely tank over 100 liters, and we have tropical fish. So this is basically, that was my project from the beginning of the year in January. I set out, that's what I want to do, and I had to convince my partner first, but yeah, my girls, especially my youngest, she really loves fish. So, and it's lovely. I love animals, I love nature, and it's, now since having the fish, it's wonderful. I just, to be honest, I sit there, watch the fish, and it's so calming. It is, gives me such a sense of peace and tranquility, and it's lovely. And I think I'm gonna add some footage at the end of the video as well, and it's just so peaceful to watch the fish. It's lovely. So yeah, I was quite busy setting that up, because you do have to, you can't just jump in and go to the fish store and buy a couple of fish. You can't, because there's several conditions you have to meet first. The water have to be, it has to be the right water. So there are many different water parameters, like the pH value, and also the general hardness of the water. The temperature of the water is important depending on the fish that you get. So you first have to really decide with, you have to start with how large do you want, how much space do you have, and how much money do you have for a fish tank, because that will govern, of course, what type of fish you can buy and how many. You know, you can't squeeze so many fish into a small tank and then think they'll be happy. It has to be right. So you have to really first decide what type of fish you want, how much space you got, and do you want tropical fish or cold water fish? And we decided to go for tropical fish, freshwater tropical fish, and so that means that they actually need a heater the water has to be around 25 degrees. So all this I had to do my research on, decide what fish we want to get, and then you have to also then obviously buy, you have to find the right aquarium as well, one that goes in with your decor in your living room. So yeah, that was a big project. I don't want to go on too much about it in case, you know, you're not interested. But anyway, I really enjoyed setting that up, and I really enjoy the fish now. One more thing to add though regards the preparation before you go and buy the fish. You have to first get this tank cycled, which means that there has to be a substantial numbers of the right bacteria in the water in your filter. You need a filter as well, which will filter basically the fish's waste products. So through their gills, they actually secrete something called a chemical called ammonia and nitrite, and this can be toxic for the fish. So in the wild, in large bodies of water, these toxins will obviously just, you know, mix with the vast amount of water. But when you have a fish tank, which is very unnatural, and you very, you know, it's only a small amount of water in that sense, the toxin stays there. So you need a filter. You need bacteria, which will change the toxic ammonia into less toxic chemicals. So yeah, so anyway, so you need the bacteria and the filters, which basically makes the water safe, which takes the toxins out, and you have to do this, you have to change the water as well weekly. So yeah, anyway, I don't want to bore you, I'm going off on a tangent again. But yeah, that was a big project. I shall add some footage for anybody who's interested. And so yeah, that was a big thing really. And then you need to maintain the fish tank as well. And then also another life update is that my eldest actually changed school. So we were really busy with that. We're very lucky that we got accepted for a great school in the area, because the school that she had gone to before was a really bad school, and we really worried about her not getting the right education. So she was on a waiting list for a better school, and I'm so blessed that we got into this new school. And so yeah, that was a big life change as well, to make sure that she settles in well. And other than that, work, same as always, just always busy. So yeah, that was a quick life update, and I do hope I find the time to do more recordings for you, and to do more knitting as well. Yes, and then the last bit I wanted to talk to you about is some future knits as well. They're not dream knits, they will be, I think they will definitely be future knits. So what I would like to make is, hopefully this year, I want to knit at least one summer top. So because now we are in April, and I think if I cast it on kind of in the next few weeks, then I will be able to knit on this during the summer months. And I'm looking for a nice tee, maybe the Anchors shirt by PetiteKnit, or the So Summer shirt by Jessie Made. I've got the yarn ready for that. That's what I'd like to knit. Then another one that I want to make this year is also a cardigan, or either a cardigan or the Love Note for my mum. So it's well overdue that I actually need something for my mum. So I was going to cast it on last year. Actually, I was debating and then have it ready for Christmas. But then other things came up. Plus I'm a selfish knitter. But yes, I need to knit something for my mum. And then next I will knit something for my partner, because he's very knit-worthy, so I do want to knit something for my partner. I once knitted him some gloves, and I always see him wear them, and every time he wears them it really makes me happy. They're all worn already, some proper finger gloves with all 5, you know how you can have fingerless gloves and that you know they're open here. It's not like that, so proper gloves. I knitted him several years ago. So yeah, because he's so knit-worthy, I do have to knit him a sweater. You know, he deserves it. He's a good man, so I want to do that. And then also the big one that I want to knit, or that I want to cast on this year. And I've got, sorry for the noise now, but I want to show you the yarn first, and then probably some of you will recognize the yarn. Oh, how can I show this now? I'm not sure. It's all wrapped up nicely in here. I don't know, can you see that? No, I don't think you can see that, so I'm going to hold it up. I'm going to, so this is many different colors. It's going to be a Fair Isle cardigan, an all over Fair Isle cardigan, and I'm going to hold up 2 colors now, but there's many more colors in this design. And it is by Mohair Edition. I have never knitted a Mohair Edition design, but I absolutely love, love, love. So I'm going to hold up the yarn. And this is the British Breeds wool by Mohair Edition. It is her yarn that she produced. And the cardigan that I would like to make is the chestnut cardigan. Some of you may have seen it as well in other knitting podcasts. And let me find it for you. I want to show you a picture. It would be the most ambitious project for me yet. Because even though I have done Fair Isle before, I have never done an all-over Fair Isle garment, basically. So it would be one hell of a project for me. Gorgeous. The colors really speak to me. Really speak to me. I'm not a fan of blues and purples and greens mixed together, but this color has this cardigan has all the colors in there that really speak to me. We've got the tiniest amount of blue, you can hardly see it, but other than that you've got reds, browns, oranges, and it's such neutral tones. And yeah, it's a cardigan that is knit flat. It is not knit in the round. Many knitters have converted it to knit in the round, but I wouldn't know how to convert a flat garment into knitting in the round. I wouldn't even want to mess with that. Even if I did give it a go, it would end up being a disaster. So I'm gonna follow the pattern, just religiously knit it back and forth. I did actually already practice Fair Isle, purling in Fair Isle. I did practice purling in Fair Isle, and it was no issue whatsoever, so I know I'll be able to do it. But it's going to be a very, very long-standing project, and yes, it has potential to be a difficult project. A difficult project in the sense of that you can't find motivation to continue because it's knit flat, it's seamed, it's Fair Isle. Yes, the memory card was just actually full on my camera, so I had to quickly go ahead and delete some videos to free up space. So what I was saying is, yes, so it's potentially one of these projects where you then really struggle to find the motivation to continue and to finish it. But that will not happen. I will definitely not put that one in the corner, because I do actually have a naughty corner where I have 2 projects that have been lingering for years now, and I haven't picked up these projects for whatever reason. But anyway, so yes, because it's such a huge project, I want to be in the right state of mind and have all my other whips finished, and then probably in the autumn time I can then cast it on the chestnut cardigan. And yeah, the last bit, because this is a long episode, I apologize, but then I wanted to quickly do an acquisition section as well. So I did order some yarn. I had in mind to use this grey yarn, silver grey yarn. This is Drops Kid Silk. I ordered several balls of these because they're not so expensive either. Holding this double with some of the other yarn, with the Nutiden yarn that I got as well. I want to show you that. So I ordered this colorway, and yes, as I said, I got loads, so I have a whole bag here. And then the same yarn, Drops Kid Silk, in this lovely green color, and want to hold this also double with a DK weight that I have, and that would become hopefully a garment for my mum, what I mentioned earlier, because I do want to knit something for my mum. So that was the acquisition part. So that's Job's Kid Silk Mohair. And then I want to show you the knitted yarn that I got. That was the February sale that that they did, and I'm sure most of you know Honor och the knitted yarn. So this is unspun yarn, and at first I really struggled, and I didn't get on the newsletter, and I really didn't understand how can I get my hands on this yarn. But then I saw on Instagram that they had an update where they specifically tell you when the shop is open, what day and what time. And so I actually woke up in the middle of the night at 4 a.m. because that was the time the online shop opened. At 5 a.m. CET time, Central Eastern time, I think it is. So they are 1 hour ahead of us in the UK. So I woke up anyway in the middle of the night and ordered the knitted yarn, because I heard all these knitters, you know, many podcasts out there, knitters go on about the knitted yarn and how amazing it is. So I thought, oh, I must try it. So I'm going to show you what I got. I actually put it into a storage container, and I'm going to show you the colors. The colorways that I got. This is the, oh, I got them in my eye now. Oh, sorry. I can't remember the name of this color, I am sorry. So I got this orange color. And I also got this colorway as well. And so I am planning to hold this double. Apologies. Oh, I'm planning to hold this double with this, and this should make a lovely cardigan, a warm cardigan for myself. This is kind of a light pink, and I think it would complement. This would complement the pink in such a way where it would take out the pink a little bit, which I think it would look nice. I already actually tried knitting with the knitted. As I said, it's unspun yarn, and I just wanted to find out what it's like to knit with unspun yarn, as it just breaks so easily. If you hold the strands far apart and you pull, it just breaks. If you hold the strands close and you pull, it will not break. It has to do with the length of hair the sheep has, and being it unspun. Because when you spin yarn, it twists the yarn, which then stops it from breaking. So I knitted a gauge swatch, and I was actually planning to, and I had already cast on and actually already done all the short row shaping. I cast on this sweater. It is the sweater number 14 V-neck. I think it's by my favorite things knitwear. And so basically, holding this knitted yarn double, I cast this on, and I can't even show it to you now because I actually whipped it out. So basically what happened is, even though I had done the swatch and I didn't fall in love with the swatch, it does nothing for me. It didn't give me the ooh factor. But regardless, I cast on and I went already past the short row shaping. But then I really didn't like the fabric it made. And I was almost like a little bit disappointed by the knitted, and I didn't really understand. So many knitters hold knitted in double, which makes it stronger. And the garments that I see online and Instagram, they are so lovely and they look a lot lighter. But this gave me such a dense fabric. Even though this has a stitch gauge of 16 stitches. So this is about 16 stitches. I think I must have used, I can't remember what needle size I used. But anyway, a long story short, I really didn't like the garment it made. It was way too thick and dense. So I hope it's not a complete disappointment of Nutiden. I hope I will love Nutiden in the future when I just hold it together with silk mohair. Hopefully then it will give me a much nicer fabric. So then I frocked it. I was actually really considering for many days. I was thinking, should I continue? What should I do? Should I whip it out? No, I think I'm going to continue. No, I think I'm going to whip it out. You know, you're always back and forth in your mind. But then I just decided, no, I'm not going to love this garment because I don't love it now. So why go through and knit it? Why? If I can knit other things. So then I whipped it out. And as I said, I'm going to hold it double with silk mohair, which is much thinner. So yeah, hopefully that will be nice. And I think instead of this sweater, the sweater number 14, I think I will actually do a cardigan instead. So yes, that was my experience so far with Nutiden. So not a great experience yet, unfortunately. And I have to be honest, I can only, you know, give my experience. So, but yeah, it's, other than that, it's obviously a very natural yarn wool, and I'm sure it'll be fine. So yes, that's, I think, the end for today. If you are still with me, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the content. I really enjoyed coming to you today, actually. I feel like I abandoned my family today, my children, they're downstairs, so I'm gonna have to wrap it up. And as I said, I really hope you enjoyed it. So do subscribe if you are a new viewer and you want to see more, and give me the like button, and leave a comment, as I said earlier. Tell me what you're working on, or anything that I've mentioned, you know, just give it to me straight, whatever it is, tell me. Maybe you've got anything to add to what I said. So yes, I shall see you sometime, and take care and happy knitting. Bye!